to the 43rd SCCA Runoffs. Last year in Formula Ford, the front row went at it tooth and nail. Second qualifier, a 97 champ, John LaRue, tried to get around the pole sitter, John Robinson Swift. Couldn't do it. Just behind them in the S's, Tom Schweitzer and Mike Sauce got together. LaRue would again challenge, and once again, Robinson was able to hang on, but behind them, Dennis Honig's Van Diemen went for the wild ride, almost getting into the barriers, but missing them, thankfully. There was great action elsewhere as Lawrence Hendrickson, number 58 Swift, got hung out on the outside, exiting the keyhole, had to spin to avoid contact. He too would continue. In the end, John Robinson was able to fend off LaRue, opened up the battle, and earned his first ever gold medal, and some well-deserved congratulations. Formula Ford is the fastest of the formula classes to run without wings. That means it's all about mechanical grip and car control. And John Robinson showed last year he has plenty of both, scoring a pole and a flag-to-flag win at the runoffs. He also won his division this year. Momentum, though, may be this gentleman's strong suit. Cliff Johnson won the Midwestern Division, won both of the Nationals at Heartland Park, Topeka. He knows this track well, as does Bill Kephart. Bill was on the pole here in the Labor Day Formula Ford race, one of the busiest guys in SCCA, 14 starts, 6 wins, and a divisional championship. Likely the hungriest guy in the track is going to be Tom Schweitzer, this Orange Piper. He's a 3-time gold medalist at the runoffs in 3 different classes, but never in Formula Ford. And last year, an early incident dropped him to last. He fought his way up to 4th. He'd like to get his 4th gold in his 4th different class. Mike Sauce trying things a little bit differently, running a car of his own design, the Sauce. He is your Southwestern Division champion, 4 wins this year. He's very quick, and this man plays a mean guitar. We can't forget about Russ Rudicelli, driving the Van Diemen, a very quick car here. Russ is the Central Division champ. He's also a mechanical engineer. He knows how to dial in a car on a track that everybody says is handling intensive. It is time for the second day of the 43rd Annual Sports Car Club of America National Championship Runoffs, making its debut at Heartland Park, Topeka. 703 entries, over 1,200 crew members, and 535 volunteers have flooded to Topeka, Kansas for the Olympics of Motorsports. Welcome, everybody. It is great to have you with us here on Speed for our coverage of this very special event. I'm Greg Kramer. Joining me in the booth today will be Dan Binks, John Bizignano, and Mike Johnson will be covering all the action down in pit lane. And action is what we are going to have without a doubt. And one of the reasons is a track that everybody says is very technical. Dan Binks, tell us a little bit about Heartland Park, Topeka.
The new track here, they've added all this whole section here. You need to hit every mark as best you can. Get off at turn 6, go into turn 8 here. The bus stop, you can't get off line, and up through the autocross section and out onto the front straightaway.
Again, a very technical track, and it has been proving very interesting in qualifying. Formula classes, tell us a little bit about Formula Ford. Dan, you've driven them.
I've driven them. Formula Fords are a great class, no downforce. It's really the seat of the pants, springs, adjusting the sway bars, and shock absorbers. Lightweight, all 1600cc engines.
And for more on the class and some of the competitors, let's check in with Mike Johnson.
Well, I'm down here with James Hayquill, who qualified second in one of the very few Van Diemens in this field. This is his very first runoff, so he's very happy with what he's had to do. He's worked very hard on the car with Joe Stamola getting the fine-tuning right. But what he's done today is he's changed his iPod selection from Zeppelin to punk rock music. He figures a little bit something more aggressive. He's going to be having the iPod on the whole time, hopefully push him to the front. Now over to John with the biz.
Well, Todd Bardwell is here in a 22-year-old. This is a Swift DB1. You don't see them very often. He was thinking about selling the car, but then he heard that, of course, the championships were changing here to Kansas, and he thought this type of track, his technology would match up with. He's qualified 5th. That's great for this car, and he's looking for his best results since 1998 when he finished 3rd. Look for him to make a move towards the front.
Well, Biz, that was a great roll of the dice. He was 7th in his division this year, didn't get a win, but obviously likes that car on this track, and it paid off with that great qualifying run. And when we come back, we'll show you who else is in this great field of Formula Ford competitors. One of my favorite classes, and can't wait to see him get to it here in just a moment. And welcome back, everybody, to Heartland Park, Topeka, as the Formula Ford field is out on the first of 2 warm-up laps. Again, pretty chilly here. Tied a record last night for cold temperatures, 28 degrees. And obviously, track's still a little bit cool. It's not quite out of the 30s yet, so they want a little extra time to warm those tires up. Tom Schweitzer put the car in pole, and it was the first day. The second day was cold and rainy. A lot of these guys didn't even go out, and nobody was really able to get up to terms with Schweitzer's time from that first day. But, Danny, one of the things I love about this class, and we talked about it at the top, is there are no wings. There's nothing artificial about these cars. You have to get your mechanical grip figured out, and then you've just got to drive them, and that means car control, slides, get them rotated, whatever it takes. They're just a joy to watch, and from your perspective, a joy to drive.
Yeah, they really are. They're pretty lightweight cars, great tire to weight ratio, and you can slide them a long ways, and the tires stay under them.
And it's fun to watch the really good guys in tight corners rotate them as they come in. That's just a treat. And obviously, Tommy Schweitzer did a great job of that. We talked about 3 times he's won gold medals in 3 different classes. He's tried and Ford, never been able to pull it off, and got a great lap laid down in the first day of qualifying. So now let's show you the rest of the starting lineup. We talked about Schweitzer in that pole position, and that James Hayquill, as Mike Johnson talked about, a great effort alongside Bill Kephart and John Robinson, the defending champion in row 2, Bardwell and Mike Sauce in that self-designed and built Sauce chassis. Next up, Cliff Johnson and Harry Sauce, and then rounding up the top 5, Gerald Barrett and Bobby Caldwell. There are some other guys to be paying attention to in this race, though. Who are you thinking?
Yeah, Stan Towns does an awesome job. He's been racing a long, long time. There's a couple other guys that are Northwest champions. A lot of guys that have done a lot of racing.
Right.
Bruce Lindstrom, I actually raced against him a long time ago.
And by the way, the number 7 in this one was involved, the number 3 of James Lee was involved in a little bit of an incident on the last day of qualifying. He ended up qualifying 16th, got into another car, some contact, they got it fixed. Look forward to seeing what he can put together here as we get ready to go for the race. Let's get back down to the pits once again, check in with Mike Johnson.
Well, all of us here at Speed, I think, always look forward to the Formula Ford race because you never know if we're going to see a future star come out of one of these races. It's such a great training ground because the cars are relatively equal, yet the drivers get to do a lot of work themselves with working with the setup to make the car better and better and help them improve to where they want to go. And one of those drivers is my colleague John Bizignano, who actually drove for Frank Williams for over 36 races in Europe.
Well, thanks for not mentioning what year that was. Earlier in the program, Greg Kramer started talking about how these Formula Fords is very important with car control. And another term that you don't hear very often these days is driving through the problem. That's what drivers have to do in these cars. Yes, they can adjust shocks. Yes, they can adjust sway bars. But still, if you need a little oversteer, hold on to that brake just a little bit longer. If it's understeering, go ahead and just let off that gas. Just one toe will bring you back, front end back down, and get a little bit of grip. You have to drive through many problems to get these cars to go as fast as they can, especially here in Kansas.
Well, and Biz, one of the things with these cars is that without the wings, you can't mask those problems by just cranking more wing angle in. You've got to either solve it mechanically or as the driver, correct?
With no wings and only having shocks and only having sway bars, you cannot just override a problem. The driver has to be one with the car. He has to be thinking about the car. He has to be feeling every single bump. And that comes through driver control, as you say, working with those problems with the steering wheel, working with them with the brake, working them with the throttle. I think it's great.
Well, and obviously that's why when Mike talked about young guys that do well here, it shows you right off the bat, Danny, this guy's got talent.
Yeah, it does. They can come from go-karts and drive these cars pretty easy. The transition is, I would say, the smallest step. When they get to the aero cars, it's a big jump.
Well, we're hoping to see something here, and of course the veterans always play well. We've talked about that, and John Robinson, the defending champion, certainly a veteran, and Tom Schweitzer on pole, a very solid veteran. He ran the old American Continental Championship Pro Series in these cars and won it one year, so that's who we're looking at. He's come up. He's the orange car on the inside, driver's right. Alongside him is James Hayquill with that black nose, and the green is out. 18 laps, Formula Ford National Championship, and look at the explosion. 3, 4, 5 abreast. As they head down into an area, you can see it narrows up as it makes this little bend to the left, then a blind brow. They drop down to the right into the first turn, and Hayquill has taken advantage from the outside. We've seen that before. That outside line seems to be pretty effective.
It is, and Schweitzer, man, he got a bad start. A couple guys up spinning around to the right there. Man, they're 3, 4 wide, another car backwards there. That's Sauce. He's backwards.
Sauce has gone around.
He's not going to be happy.
That is unfortunate. He had a great qualifying effort up into 6th, and we got a Swift. That yellow Swift is off there as well. That is the 06 of Todd Bardwell, that great story, who qualified 5th. Boy, that's an unfortunate development in the early going. Meanwhile, let's get back to the action here. Look at that. That's one of the great things about these cars, 3-4 abreast, right through the exit of the carousel. Meanwhile, here's what happened, Danny. You know, they touched.
Yeah, they touched and sent them both off to the right. Yeah, Sauce off in the middle. Man, he was really lucky somebody didn't collect him.
Oh, man, that's the third row. Got together and went around. Here it is again.
Yeah, it looked like they just got together and really did some damage to the...
Bardwell's broken.
Yeah, he's broken.
Left front corner broken on that Swift. He's out. And, boy, what a frustrating day. But, boy, what a great weekend he's had in terms of qualifying, getting into this event. Just to see it all go away this early is very sad indeed. But, boy, we got some good racing going elsewhere. Take a look here, as this is the battle for the lead, and that is Robinson, the defending champion, has come up and got around Schweitzer. Schweitzer trying to get inside. That's very close here in the autocross section. Very, very tight corners, and Schweitzer, I think, wisely gave way.
Yes, he did. And after last year's start, he had not a very good start last year and got taken out, so he's being a little bit smarter here, and looks like the car got a good shot off of the straightaway there. We'll see if he's got anything for him.
Oh, boy, he squared that last corner up beautifully. Got a good drive. Robinson right in front of him, and then the 88 of Hayquill. Robinson's going to move to the inside, and look at Schweitzer going, yeah, buddy, let's go. I'll push you along. And here's the number 3, James Lee. He was involved in that incident in final day qualifying, and another one now. And we get a report we might just have a full course caution come out. That car is going to be very difficult to move with that suspension damage.
Yeah, you wonder if there was some damage that they didn't see from earlier in the weekend when he was wrecked.
Yeah, well, we get a report that Donald Baggett was also involved, so maybe it was simply a contact incident as well. But as we can see, we have a full course car. Yep, there it is. Baggett's car parked there, and obviously those two got together. Lee looks like he definitely got the worst of it, but that right front corner in Baggett's car, the white and yellow Swift right there, may have some damage as well. We are under a caution.
Yeah, one of the times I drove a Formula Ford, I drove it for my father-in-law, and I actually ran into one of his customers, and we ended up like that, so that wasn't a very good day.
That was a fun trip home, I bet.
Yeah, it was a great trip home.
Real quiet, got a lot of thought process. Oh, and here's another driver who's had an incident. This is Rich Leslie, and he has had a problem in his Van Diemen and has pulled off track. So, boy, lots of incidents going on out there at this stage.
Yeah, he qualified 11th.
Now let's watch this. And that is, well, that's the 93 of Leslie. He got tangled up with, I can't see the number on that Swift,
yeah,
but he got tangled up there.
Looks like they hit tire to tire, and these cars can't take that. The suspension links on these are very small.
And there's the, oh yeah, sure, big damage also on the 75 there
75.
of Baggett, as well as the 3 of Lee. So, boy, some big incidents early in the going, and as a result, we are under a full course caution here at Heartland Park, Topeka. All of that happening on the first lap. Eventful when you get a lot of cars, open wheel cars at that, and they're all jockeying for position. And these guys, one thing about driving Formula Fords is aggression. You generally are a pretty aggressive driver if you love running in this class, and sometimes that comes to tears. So we're under a caution. We're going to step away for just a moment as a result, but we will be right back and bring you the rest of this Formula Ford National Championship.
David Dietrich was a long-time competitor in Formula Ford. Very close-knit fraternity, but David's not here this year. He passed away in September. But many of the cars are carrying a decal in his honor. Current champion John Robinson, tell us about David.
David was the cohesive element that kept the whole group together, and he made sure everybody had fun at every race, no matter what happened.
And James Lee, you're actually running his car. That's a bit of a responsibility.
Oh yes, it is. I got to carry David's spirit, drive just like him, have fun, and have a good finish.
He's not here, but he's certainly very well remembered.
Dave Dietrich, quite a guy indeed, passed away in September, and he's here in spirit. You know that all of these guys are missing him and thinking about him. So, and there's John Robinson, who's off to a good start in this race in his honor. Check in with Mike.
Well, down here in the yellow, during this yellow flag, great time to meet some of our fans. I'm here with 6-year-old Simon, who came with his parents from Topeka. You having fun today?
Yeah.
So, where's your mom?
She's at the car.
That's where my mom used to be when I was racing too. So, do you want to be a race car driver one day?
Yeah.
All right. So this could be the future of Formula Ford right here. Back to you guys.
Yeah, he is pumped and he is chilly. That's the good idea. The temperatures here. It looks like we are going back to green in Formula Ford. And boy, big move right there. Schweitzer dropping down to the inside. He got a great jump on Robinson and knifes by Hayquill on top of it. And here comes Robinson. Takes a look inside Hayquill. Realized that was not going to be a good move.
got out of it just a little bit. Smart move by Robinson. Showed the nose and then decided I want to keep the nose on the car.
Yeah, and that almost cost him another spot. It looks like Schweitzer didn't want to take a chance. After that first start, he lost a couple spots, and this time he just said, I'm letting it rip.
Yeah, he timed it beautifully, and that little move by Robinson going inside Hayquill. Hayquill moved over to shut the door, and you can see it cost him 2-3 lengths to Schweitzer. That's one thing about these cars, boy, with those similar 1.6-liter engines, its momentum is huge in these cars.
It is. You really just need to carry as much speed as you can, and you can see Cliff Johnson has actually caught up to this group, and he started 7th.
Yeah, a couple of guys have made big moves. The guy's running 6th right now. Blank had a great start.
Yes, he did. I think he was started back in the like 16th, 17th spot.
Yeah, just a
12th,
great run. Yeah, obviously those cars having some problems. He moved up, but here is Schweitzer. As you saw the graphic, a 3-time national champion for Tom. In 1994, he was the Sports 2 pole sitter and won the championship. 91, he got the win in a Continental. And in 84 in GT4, and more guys involved. The 11 of Harry Sauce, and I think that is the 80. Is that Vlas's 83?
Yeah, it is.
And those two guys, again, interlock wheels, and these cars just don't like that.
And the Sauce brothers are not having a very good day. Both of them off.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Absolutely. And there's Vlas's getting out of the car. And obviously, see, now, well, I wonder, Sauce's car was moving.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the tires are tweaked anywhere. And Sauce was down inside. That was an optimistic move, I think.
Well, I mean, he got all the way alongside, but it was a very sudden dive down into that inside. And then they just finished the pirouette here. I think Sauce's car might be mobile if they can get free. It looked like Vlas's car had damage to that left front corner.
Yes, it does. We'll have to see if it maybe looks like the toe's bent on that car. It looks like the right front's actually out a little bit.
And we'll see here as number 11, Harry Sauce, decides to soldier on, as it were. 7 races this year he started before he came into the runoffs. Now John Robinson comes up, taking a look inside Hayquill and not getting the job done right there as they're going through that very long carousel. Hayquill, though, floated way out, and that was a nice move by Robinson. He sort of suckered Hayquill, made the move. Hayquill carried a little bit too much speed in to defend, and it's exactly what Robinson wanted to see.
Yeah, and we've seen that in the past where a guy just carries too much speed and can't keep it on the line. And offline here in the cold day is not much grip.
Real slippery. And, of course, again, though, with all of that happening, you see Schweitzer get away just a little bit more, and he's at the front where he wanted to be. But, boy, once Robinson got by Hayquill, he has driven away. Now, of course, Hayquill had to make that recovery, and that slowed up Cliff Johnson behind him. But here is Schweitzer, then Robinson right behind him, the defending champion. But I said at the top of the show that I think Tom Schweitzer is the hungriest guy out there, and Mike Johnson, he's driving like it.
Well, I'm with his crew chief, Tom Stark, actually the car owner. Now, you guys said you were fighting understeer all week. What did you do to prepare for this cold temperature?
Just soften the car up a little bit, a little more air pressure. That's about all you can do.
Now, fighting tire temps as well, do you think that was maybe what held him back at the start, not getting enough heat in the tires?
It looked like maybe they caught him napping. I think they got the jump on him on that one.
All right, well, he definitely got the jump right back on that second start and put him back himself into the lead.
Yeah, he nailed that restart, Danny.
Yeah, he nailed the second restart. The first one is what they're talking about, and he just was asleep. I've done that in the past. So.
Snoozing, asleep at the switch, whatever the cliche is, they had applied. But he made good on that restart, and now he is clearing away. Biz?
Well, Harry Sauce came in for a very quick pit stop, and in Formula 4, that is absolutely death. He cannot make up these positions. They took some items out of the radiator, so he definitely had an off-course excursion, and of course the heat had to be going up in the motor. So he just came in to clear out the radiators, didn't want to blow up the motor last race of the year.
Well, at least he's going to get back out and finish the runoffs, and that is something in and of itself. You qualified to get here, might as well finish the race. And looks like, you notice anything on those tires?
Yeah, it looks like both front tires are sort of pointed at themselves. The toe is knocked out of that thing. He's going to be fighting it all day. Robinson, man, look at this.
You're saying front tires cross-side is not a great setup here. Well, we'll see how he soldiers on here. Tom Schweitzer starting to feel the heat from John Robinson. The battle is on. It is the 43rd annual running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championships. The runoffs, one race after a full season of divisional racing. Top 3 get the medals, the silver, the bronze, but of course everybody shooting for that gold. And this year for the first time at Heartland Park, Topeka, Formula Ford under contest, and that is a fact. John Robinson, in a very few laps, once he got around Hayquill, Robinson, the defending champion, has reeled in Tom Schweitzer. And you were making a note to me earlier while we were in a break that it looks like Robinson's car is really good straight line.
It is really good.
Oh, and there he makes the move.
He shoots inside. I don't know if he's got anything there. Schweitzer is going to leave it open a little bit, and he's going to do it.
Schweitzer looking in the mirrors.
Oh, he didn't.
That's the problem. You got to get it done a little bit sooner than that because you eventually have to bend right to. That's the section of the track they just call alpha here, and there's that curb. You got to clip it. If you're not alongside at that point, and I think Schweitzer, you could see him hunting in the mirrors a little bit, realized that he wasn't alongside enough and just turned in. But now, obviously, we'll see how much Schweitzer is living in the mirrors.
Right, he's living in the mirrors a little bit. Robinson's a little bit quicker right now on the tires. It seems like his came in a little bit quicker. They race each other a lot. They're both, Florida East Coast guys, and they get a run against each other a couple times a year.
11 Sauce back in once again, and it may be, well, look at that. They're looking at the suspension, exactly what you were pointing out. There is something amiss.
Yeah, they're trying to bend that tie rod straight. You can see it's
bend.
folded down. Yeah. And
where's that convincer?
Yeah, it just caches the tires, and you're all done.
Well, you can see he is very, very frustrated, but he's going to head out once again, and this is how it all came to be.
Yeah, down inside, they hit tire to tire. It was maybe an optimistic pass there, and for sure the guy didn't see him and turned to the apex, and they ended up together.
Now, obviously, the contact was not on the side where they were working on that tire, but because of where he was, he obviously pranged it pretty hard on that curb.
Sure, it looks like that curb was dug out a little bit, maybe from the water that we had earlier in the week, and he definitely bent the suspension.
Meanwhile, up front, Schweitzer continues to feel the heat, and you can hear the tires chirping as they're working through that section of track. Robinson, that was looking at a straight line pass down in there, but that's the short line through that, just the shortest line, apex to apex in that series of corners. But then you got to swing out and get a drive onto that front straight through 14, and Schweitzer got the better of it this time, and they are working again down into that section of track. Robinson not as close though, Dan.
Not as close this time. It cost him a little bit, maybe 10, 12 feet, but that's all you need at the end of the the front straightaway here.
Down into turn one, very tight right into an equally tight left, and then it's into that carousel. Long, slightly uphill, banked, starts to climb as you get just past turning here. It starts to go uphill, doesn't it?
A very technical part of the track. You need to carry as much speed through 3 here, and then into 4. 4 is pretty important because if you mess this up, somebody can get inside in turn 5. Turn 5's fairly slow, little short shoot to 6. This is turn 5 here.
Looks like Schweitzer through the carousel and through 4. That Piper designed by Don Sievert Piper looks to be very good in that section of track.
He's able to carry a little bit more speed.
Here's our battle for 4th, and a great run by Barrett. It's just Gerald Barrett started 9th and right now sits in the 4th spot. He's gone around Cliff Johnson, who had qualified in the 7th spot, so the two of them coming up from a little bit and now battling for 4th. That you see Barrett sort of the purplish hue to that car, and right behind him is Cliff Johnson, another of those Pipers.
Yeah, the Piper car seems like a couple guys really like him and other guys have a hard time getting used to him. You can see he lose a lot right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Biz?
Cole Johnson is actually the team manager for his dad, Cliff. And Cole, you were telling me that right now this was the race plan for you all. You wanted to be right in that 4th or 5th position.
We did now, but it looks like the leaders are getting a little bit further away. I don't know. Hopefully Cliff can get it going again and maybe can get back up to the leaders.
Can he work with the people around him?
It looks like he can, but I don't know. It's starting to get a bigger gap, and we're trying that now for 3rd because that's probably now the only thing in reach. So we got to get past 4, and maybe we'll get there.
He's going to be working the scene down here, guys. 16-year-old team manager.
Absolutely. By the way, Schweitzer and Robinson, he was talking about, have now got about 3 seconds over Hayquill, and then Hayquill's got another 4 seconds to this battle, and Robinson got around. Well, he'd worked it twice going into that last turn and down that front straight, and this time he made it stick, and we have a new leader, but Schweitzer just tucked right there at this stage.
Yeah, last lap, Schweitzer actually set fast lap, and then I don't know if he didn't get off onto the front straightaway as good, and Robinson just put it to him.
Well, one of the things with these cars, even on a track like this one that doesn't have a lot of long straights, drafting is key, and you get the right toe, it can pay off. But this was just a pop move and made it work. Boy, what a nice move down into turn 1.
Almost like a surprise there. I didn't think he had enough run over the top of the hill, but he did.
Well, he timed it beautifully, didn't he? Right here, just
right
straight
in
line.
there. And you wouldn't think there'd be good enough grip there. You can see the line where all the dark part is, where the tires have rubbed in, and he was out there in the clean stuff.
Well, and then as they came out of that turn, I saw him nodding a little bit. I wonder if they aren't just working together to try and build the lead up so that it does come down to just the two of them. And in the last few laps, see this thing turn into a true mano-a-mano battle. So don't go anywhere. It's looking good. Welcome back, everybody. Here's what's happened so far in the battle for the Formula 4 National Championship. At the start, outside front row qualifier James Hayquill got the jump, but the action started quickly. The number 93 involved in an incident. Here, first turn, a big problem for Bardwell and Mike Sauce getting involved. Here, the number 3, James Lee, involved with the 75 of Donald Baggett. And then we went under a full course caution on the restart. The number 11, Harry Sauce, his brother, got into it with the 83 of John Vlassis. They were done. And then we saw just now Tom Schweitzer getting around, that's Robinson getting around and underneath Hayquill and picking that spot up as Hayquill started to struggle a bit early. And then just a few moments ago, this beautiful move by John Robinson as he dove underneath, then leader Tom Schweitzer, and he picked up the lead with that. And then this moment right here,
that's Lindstrom in 77, same deal. He just didn't see him and turned down.
A little bit of a tire bump right there, and that can be the deal. Doug Hobby, the other guy involved in that one, and both of them parked. And now we're back to the action here in the Formula 4 National Championship, and the number 72 of Tom Schweitzer back in the lead. And there is Robinson, and there's a fairly big gap between the two.
Yeah, it looks like Robinson must have made a mistake and lost a couple of seconds here. He needs to be careful because Haque will catch him.
Yeah, Hayquill struggling a little bit early maybe with the tires not coming up as quick as they would have liked. But Schweitzer, boy, once he got around, whatever happened here, you would have to assume you're exactly right that Robinson had a moment of some sort. We talked about momentum in these cars, and you lose it, those big gaps can appear in a hurry.
Absolutely. You get offline, you mess up, you get on the brakes too hard, you lose a second or two, and that's what's happened right here.
But we have seen Robinson be able to make up those gaps in a fair hurry, so we'll see if he's got anything left here. And Schweitzer is coming up on some traffic, and depending upon when you catch the traffic, that can play a key role as well. Schweitzer got through nicely.
Yeah, timing of the traffic is big. You can really mess up your competitors if you can get by somebody maybe into the we'll see what happens here with Hayquill. He's going to get by him, it looks like.
Well, and that car, absolutely great job by the driver. You saw him stay well offline, and you saw him pointing madly. Go around, man. I don't want to get involved in your fight. So nice job there. Here's John Robinson that was leading, went to second, was leading, went to second. This has been one of those races. There's Schweitzer just going out of frame. There's Robinson, and you're right, Hayquill not that far back at this point. Now we're going to take you back now and show you just how Schweitzer was able to find his way past Robinson here.
Oh, he just returned the favor. As we did earlier, he got inside Schweitzer. I mean, they made it too wide there, and he really got offline and got his tires dirty, and that's all Schweitzer needed to drive away.
Now, we look at those two passes. Schweitzer, when he was had, he immediately tucked in behind, followed him through, stayed close. Robinson tried to run him the outside, dirtied up his tires, lost that time. So Schweitzer in that scenario, I think, played that game just a little better.
Yes, he did. And you can really feel that dirt on the tires. These things are sticky. They're running at about 180 degrees, and they're like a sticky piece of tape. And if you get dirt on them, they just don't grip.
Here's our battle for 18th back in the mix, and it is the number 12 of James Michael in the 66 having a strong run. Mark Keller, these two guys duking it out. Keller gets around. Boy, that was a nice move.
Yeah, the 12 car got up on the curb there, and the 66 just shot by. We've seen offline there in the bus stop is not a very good place.
No, it's tough. Keller's second in the Northern Pacific Division this year. A couple of wins on his season, so he had a good run. And for the number 12 of James Michael, he was third in the Southwestern Division. 5 podiums, and there you go. Boy, you run a little wide there and go curb hopping and skipping through the dirt. As you said, now it's going to take a few corners, especially with it being as cool as it is, to get those tires to come back.
Yes, it will. It takes 3, 4, 5 turns for that to be better. The 12 car's actually making a run back at him. We'll see what happens.
Boy, he got those tires cleaned up, and he's right close in that draft as they head down the front straight once again. This is an interesting section of track as you go up that little bend to the left. Blind climb. Oh, and boy, the 12 ducking down inside. Meanwhile, this, I believe, is the 82.
Lindstrom.
Yeah, Livingston, actually.
Oh, Livingston, sorry.
Yeah, so apparently he's had a problem, and he is going to be done for the day out talking to his crew chief right now. So for David Livingston, the day ends just a little bit too soon for the gentleman who finished second in the Midwestern Division. But he qualified for the runoffs, and not a lot of people can say that. Schweitzer leads here in Formula 4. Seesaw?
Yeah.
Tom Schweitzer continues to lead Formula 4, the chase for the national championship and the gold medal here at Heartland Park, Topeka for the first year in the history of this event. But we have a great battle unfolding for second between Robinson and Hayquill. Hayquill actually had it for a moment. Robinson got by. Now Hayquill making the attack once again. So this is exactly what Schweitzer wants to see. Two guys behind him keeping each other occupied, not necessarily running the fastest lines as a result. Schweitzer now up to 2.5 second lead. There he goes, just out of the top of the picture, plus some traffic. But this battle is superb.
Yeah, Robinson doesn't look like he's very happy with his car at the moment. He was the class of the field early on, and now he's battling here for third, and it looks like his car's pretty loose.
Boy, Hayquill trying to look down onto the inside here, and Robinson shuts the door. Yeah, that was very close. But, you know, Biz was talking about it, and so were the crew chiefs. With these cars and no wings, it's all, you know, tire pressures, suspension setups, and the like. So, obviously, you've got to try and get these cars to work, and if you guess wrong, it could be a problem. Biz? All right, battling continuing here, and Robinson again able to hang on to Hayquill, but you're right, his car does not look happy right now, and Hayquill's looks like his was the one that wasn't working well early. Ooh, a lock up there by Robinson, floats out wide. Hayquill takes a look underneath. This is it. Oh, and he's going to just straight line to the apex. No, Robinson shuts the door. But as you said, Hayquill's car didn't look good early. It looks much better now.
It does. It looks like his tires have come in, and it looked like Robinson's just trying to carry as much speed as he can. He wrecked that. The right front tire's got a shake in it. I guarantee you're feeling that, and you're thinking, man, I hope it's not down to the cord.
Lap 14 in the books, working 15, so 3 to go. Hayquill a little bit loose up over the rise, but carrying a lot of speed. Take a look at this moment right here once again.
And you can see Robinson carried a lot of speed in there. It pushed off the track there, and he just had to slow it down.
And obviously you can see that tire lock up and the graining on it, so, but Robinson hanging on. Biz?
Hey guys, we're not getting lazy down here. We know that everyone wants to hear from the top runners and their teams in the pits, but a lot of the teams are missing out of the pit lane. The reason why is because, well, if you come in here, your race day is over. But secondly, what we understand is many of the crew people have been stationed around the course. With this very close running, they're actually doing spotting for their drivers in and out of several of the corners. I think they can actually help them better out on the course more than being in here in the pit lane.
Well, you're right. Obviously, in an 18-lap sprint race like this, if you pit, you're done, essentially. And better to have the guy out there and be helping out. And spotting can be key, as we just saw, Danny. Hayquill making a move. Robinson shut the door, and Hayquill almost got trapped over the curbs. And that's where having a spotter in that area going, he's alongside, can pay big dividends.
Yeah, I actually spot from the speed coverage of our races and tell the drivers what's going on. And, you know, Ron Fellows, he doesn't even look in the mirrors.
Yeah, exactly right. Schweitzer continues to lead, but Robinson and Hayquill at war.
Gary Payne has been a competitor, a scrutineer, and a corner worker in the SCCA for over 15 years. But now for the first time, and unfortunately the last, you're competing in the runoffs. Now why is this the last time?
We're going to go out with a bang this year. We're going to spend more time with our grandkids, be a part of their lives, take them fishing, do some things like that as they grow up. And we need to back off on our SCCA's commitments.
Now, living in Columbia, Missouri, are these grandchildren going to be able to come out and watch you for your final race?
Yes, they will be here bright and early.
All right, hopefully to watch Grandpa go out in style, right?
I hope so. Thanks.
Well, it's truly a family affair. There he is running in 22nd spot right now, having the time of his life. And he made the comment a bit earlier. He told us, he said, you know what, my grandparents were a huge role in my life and my growing up. I want to be there for my grandkids. So it's a pretty class act, obviously, going on here. Speaking of class acts, this battle for second is the class of the field right now, as Schweitzer has opened it up to over 5 seconds as these guys are duking it out. This is for the silver and the bronze, and Robinson is hanging on, but I think he is feeling immense pressure right now. Hayquill seems to be quicker.
Yeah, what's going to happen here is if Robinson just makes any mistake, Hayquill's going to just drive by, and a little bit of a mistake right there, and if he can get inside, it doesn't look like he has enough. Robinson's engine has really got big power down the inside. He might have something. He closes the door.
Yeah, Hayquill wanted to do it, but that's got to be much further up at that point of the track, and now it's through this very twisty bit of the track. And as you said, if Robinson can stay in front here, that engine is working very well. And again, Hayquill trying to just, I think what Hayquill's trying to do, Danny, is just get Robinson offline to make another of those mistakes so he slows up at some point that he can drive by him.
Yeah, I think what I would do is I would slow down earlier and then get a good shot. But then he did get a good shot here, and we'll see if he's got something.
Well, he's making the move right now, and you've got to come up alongside before you get there. He's got it. He is there. Now, we've seen Robinson try and run the outside here before. Locks that tire up, goes scooting in way wide into the junk, but he pulls it off. He makes it work. Hayquill's going to come up underneath. And now this should give Hayquill the inside into the carousel. And again, all of this offline driving, off the fast line, is what's allowing Schweitzer to just say, see ya. But boy, is this entertaining stuff, and Hayquill gets through. And really, that started 3 corners before. Sometimes on a track that's busy and technical like this, you got to be thinking corners ahead of where you want to make it work.
You really do, and these cars are so close. They go through the corners exactly the same speed. The only way you're going to get a guy is if he makes a small mistake, and then you can capitalize on it. And you saw it took 3 corners for that to happen, and now he's going to just pull away here a little bit.
So Hayquill having an absolutely stellar run after struggling a bit early for the Northern Pacific champion. A couple of wins this year on his way to that divisional title, and what a run he's put together. But whatever the crew did in terms of those tires and the pressures and the compounds and all that, they guessed right for late in the race, and that's where you want the car to come alive.
Yeah, now it's lap 16, and his car's the fastest it's been. What the problem is Schweitzer has checked out to 7 seconds, and there's nobody going to be even have a hope of catching him.
Yeah, up until now, Hayquill's best lap was a 145 flat. Schweitzer's turned to 144.9. Robinson early on had the best lap of the race so far at a 144.6. Now we'll see what Hayquill can do as Robinson falls back a little bit, Mike.
Yeah, we were talking about what you were saying about what Hayquill was changing to get his car a little better. Actually, each session he was changing music in his iPod. He said he went from Led Zeppelin to punk rock. He had his fastest lap in punk rock. That's probably what he's got on his iPod right now.
Well, it's definitely got him jamming, that's for sure. He's working very hard, watching this good battle for the 5th spot. The 23 of Gerald Barrett and the 08 of Stephen Maxwell having a solid battle right here. Maxwell, another of those Pipers. And boy, those cars seem to like this track, certainly. The Swift, certainly not a problem with it, as we've seen. But some good running here. And then right up front, you see there's the 4 of Johnson. And they're coming up on some lap traffic as well.
Yeah, Johnson has moved up to 4th. He was hoping to be on the podium. He's going to have to get going here. There's only 1 lap left.
And that car right in front of these two is Gale Stokers, who has had a tremendous run. Stokers qualified back in 17th, and Stokers has fought his way up to the 5th spot. So a great run for Stokers. This could have been the sly guy here coming up through the pack.
Yeah, he's been kind of quiet. We haven't seen much of him, but there was all those incidents in the middle of the race there, and he just made the most of it.
Now the question is, can Barrett and Maxwell catch him? And boy, Maxwell, really shallow exit off of turn 5. Then he dives to the inside. Ooh, I thought they were going to touch him.
Yeah, he didn't leave him much room there. And you can see it messed him up, and he loses another second. So he's going to have to catch all that back up. And with not much time left, I don't know if he can do it.
His car seems to be as fast, though, as the red number 23 there of Barrett without using anywhere near the track. Ooh, Barrett real skatey under braking. There's a look at the 27.
He's the grandfather.
Yeah.
He's having a pretty good run.
And there is Schweitzer coming up.
Final
waving.
lap.
Liking it. Checkered flag for Tom Schweitzer. He had such a big lead, and with that great battling going on elsewhere, we didn't really follow him for a bit because we had to take a look at those great battles, and Tommy Schweitzer made it look easy, and he's been chasing the championship in Formula Ford for a long time, and he finally got it, and Danny, he got it with a dominant run to boot, his 4th gold medal in the runoffs.
Yeah, this car is really fast. He pulled out to a 7-second lead. After last year's race, I know he was very disappointed, and this might make it a little bit sweeter.
I think it is. I think this is one of those nice rewards after a tough year before. And for the crew, Mike, boy, they are thrilled.
Well, down here with Josh Stark. Josh, you're the engineer. Great job. What did you guys have to do to make this car so fast?
Well, we struggled all week getting the front of the car soft enough to keep the tires under the car. We made a big change this morning for warm-up, and I think it worked out.
Had you guys been anything this cold all season long or even during this week?
No, we've never run this car anywhere near this cold. We didn't know how it would work, but it worked good.
Well, it worked excellent. Great job.
Yeah, I'd say that change worked.
Yeah, I'd say it works. Schweitzer has raced all over. He races in the Northeast, and he knows the cold tracks. He might not have run this car, but he knows what to do.
Absolutely. Let's see what's going on in business end of things.
Well, Mike Sauce's car did not make it to the end of the race. They were looking at the front end of this car, looking for the broken suspension, and finally let go. Danny Binks, you called it perfectly. What happened was, and it's unusual to see this, this is where the connecting rod goes right into the chassis at the pickup point, and this is what let go, which is very unusual. None of the suspension is actually bent whatsoever. He hit that curb. I think you mentioned in the replay that he bounced off the curb very, very hard. Mike, let me ask you, those opening laps a bit rough out here in Formula Ford.
Well, you know, the starts are always wild and woolly, and it looked like Bardwell came back off the track. Made a pretty good start and got in front of Bardwell, and when we got down to turn 1, he went wide and came back across the track and nailed me in the rear and spun me around. When I did, I hit the curb, and that's what damaged the pickup point.
What's it like driving around out there not knowing if your suspension's going to hold together or not?
Well, you know, this is the race. This is the only race that I haven't won, and I've been trying for a lot of years, and it just always seems like something's going on. So, you know, I'll press on regardless. I mean, if the car feels, you know, somewhat reasonable, I'll still drive it.
He'll be back next season too, guys.
Oh, you know that. And at the last few runoffs, his band has played. He sings and plays guitar in the band. And I asked him this year, are you jamming? And he said, no. He said, since they moved it a month back, our other guitar player had a prior commitment, so we're just racing this weekend. And this guy raced to a gold. We'll talk to him when we come back. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka. As some of the incidents that were involved in our Formula Ford race are being cleared up on the track, there's a big moment going on down in Victory Circle. Mike?
Down here with Tom Schweitzer, 4th national championship, but in 4 different classes. Tell us about the start of the race.
The start of the race, you know, I thought I got on the gas early enough, but apparently I didn't. And, you know, this motor's a little bit better up high, and their motors are probably a little bit better down low.
Now, what about when you took the lead? What was that like? How'd you make that pass?
I can't even remember it. We were trading places a couple of times. And
Okay.
that well early in the race, sometimes you don't want to lead all of them.
Well, you got him back on the restart, then I think, didn't he pass you back, and did you get him back again, or?
Yes, we trade places a couple of times, me and the Red Swift.
Now, was your car better in one part of the track, his car better in another? Did you set it up for a certain place so that you could pass him when you needed to?
I don't think so. I think his car was working pretty good. I don't know if he had 25 tires on all the way around and they went around, because I don't know why they faded towards the end. I mean, halfway through the race, I didn't see him behind me anymore.
All right, well, 4 national championships in 4 different classes. We might see Tom Schweitzer in a different class next year going for a 5th national championship.
Hey, why not? Might as well, you know, explore the gamut here. He's only got, what, 20 classes to go here. So I'll tell you what, it was all the battling going on behind him that allowed him to just check out, and obviously the crew guessed right on that setup, and Tom drove the wheels off that car. Just a fabulous run. Let's take a look at our unofficial results. Hayquill getting the silver medal. John Robinson hanging on for a bronze, the defending champion. Then Cliff Johnson in 4th. Gail Stoker's maybe the drive of the race once again, coming from way, way back in 17th. You got to give some serious kudos to that drive that he put together. And obviously Gary Payne there, that great story. Granddad finishing 20th in his first and only runoffs. He's got some great stories to tell. And then, of course, the problems for Sauce and the rest of the gang, including Bardwell at this stage. Got to be sad moments for them. They were so very quick indeed and had the opportunity to do so much more. Well, of course, we've got other medals to award. Let's check in on 2nd place with John Bizignano.
Well, James Hayquill came a long way for this race, all the way from England there, James. Actually, it looked like it was very close, clean running.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, my car was a bit of a handful at the start, but I got the run on Tommy at the beginning. He was going very slowly at the start. But I had a great race with John at the end. We were getting very close, but I don't think we touched.
A lot of passing back and forth. What about the pass for 2nd there?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't even remember where it was. I'll have to look at the video and see, but we were going backwards and forwards a lot, and I was all over the back of his car and really trying to find a way by.
That's good running. Why do they call you Fuzzy? Show us why they call you Fuzzy. Oh my God. Now is that faster, or is that a faster way to drive, to be?
Definitely.
Aerodynamically, it does not look correct.
Well, it's under my helmet, so it's you know, all fared in.
Congratulations on a great 2nd place.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
It channels the air effectively as it goes through that those coils and the like. That's what makes it
have a bigger
work.
helmet.
That's right, absolutely. Schweitzer enjoying the spoils, the victory lap here at the runoffs. A very special moment for any gold medalist. We'll be right back with more from Heartland Park, Topeka. As Tom Schweitzer continues that very special victory lap, winning his 4th gold medal in 4 different classes, that's a pretty remarkable achievement. But, Danny, yeah, this is really a classic Formula Ford race. Some of them 5 cars are all over each other, but every once in a while they get a battle shaping up and one guy able to just drive away.
Yeah, he just played his cards right. He didn't get a great start, but just kept his head down, kept working on it, and stayed out of trouble.
Absolutely, and ended up with a great win, but boy, behind him, the dicing was fabulous. Classic Formula Ford action here at Heartland Park, Topeka. Again, the first time that the National Championships have run here, and I think this track is proving to be a great test of driver and crew in terms of setup. Just some great racing all around. For Danny Binks, John Bizignano, and Mike Johnson, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks for joining us here on Speed for our coverage of this 43rd running of the SCCA Runoffs. There's a lot more to come. Keep tuning into Speed. And to Tom Schweitzer, congratulations.